Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Every single week since 2017 January, we've had a show, and the Ask Brien show is a business show. Each week we either interview a founder, which can tell us something about this, how their business was created and how it's working, or we teach something about a business skill. It could be Facebook advertising, could be how to handle inventory matters or how to handle reviews. But each week we try to help people learn something about business, either through a founder or through an expert in some certain field. My co-host is Alex Grossman on the Ask Brien show. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes, I did save it. Where's the thing? You don't even have anything. You know, he's an engineer and he doesn't have it. Come on, like, don't you have like a save button when the guy is playing hockey and they miss the goal? No? Oh my God, that was a bad one. Very, very bad. We're going to have to train the engineer. And on top of everything else, he's a Raider fan. Wow, wow, wow. All right.
Just bad.
Well, and the Raiders are playing the Rams, and you know that the hometown is L.A., so, you know, boo for the Raiders. You don't have a boo either. Okay. Boy, he's really out of control today. I'm going to have to teach him a couple of things. All right, so Alex, you had some questions. I didn't know what you were talking about, so you want to ask me what you wanted to know?
Well, after that save, Brian, you know, I don't know. But now my biggest question is, was that save because you spelled Brian with an E? Why in the world would anybody spell Brian with an E?
Well, first of all, you have to go to the Irish pub, because the Irish pub is always spelled O'Brien, O'Brien's pub. How many O'Brien pubs are there throughout the world? So actually, people do spell Brian with an E. It's a misnomer. I hope everyone knows what that means. A misnomer that Brian is spelled Y-A-N or I-A-N. It's always spelled E-N. Ask anyone from Ireland, that's what they're going to say. I'm from Ireland, and I think that it's an E. Okay, so do you have any other questions, or should we get to the show?
Let's get to the show. By the way, that accent, yeah, you better work on that one.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry, but we can't do the show because people want to know why Brian is spelled with an E. And if you can't ask me those questions, you have a boo for the co-host? No boo for the co-host. I don't know what's going on here.
Why is Brian spelled with an E? I don't get it. I mean, I just think you have a lot of energy, but I don't know why. Just doesn't make sense.
Well, that is definitely one of the reasons Brian is spelled with an E. It has energy. Enthusiasm! Okay, you have to be enthusiastic. You have to have a passion, right? Now, that's not an E, but enthusiasm is part of passion. Also, what was that? I don't know. It sounds like aliens. I think there's an alien spaceship that has raided KHTS. All right, so no, it's not an alien. All right, so we're going to go back to the show. Another reason why we have E is sometimes we empathize with the engineer, but not today, because I'm not very empathetic when he's missing the call. So we have a boo, no, a bum, no, nothing. Okay. All right. This is kind of like bloopers, you know? All right, so the other reason why we have an E in Ask Brien, okay, is experts. One of the main factors on our show is we try to have people that are experts to try to explain something about their business or if they were founders. And in order to be an expert, we typically used to say you needed 10,000 hours. We still say 10,000 hours. The only difference is how long it takes. The typical person will work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year for 5 years to hit 10,000. That's how we come out with the math. Now, as we know, E, that also stands for entrepreneurs, that people starting businesses, they typically can get this done in 2.5 years. Why? Because they're not working 40 hours a week. They're working 80 hours a week if they want to be successful. Now, the other reason why Ask Brien spelled with an E is education. We try to educate you through business learning lessons. We're the Sesame Street for business, and we try to teach you simple things so that when you have your own business, you can be more successful. And that's one of the reasons why we have an E in Ask Brien. There are other reasons, experience, enlightening, etc., but we do have a big show to get to today, and so we're just going to quickly go over and go right to our guest. And guess what? Our guest's first name begins with a E. Thank you. All right, we're on point. I guess we're getting better as we go along. Ellie, are you there?
Of course I'm here. What else would I do?
I don't know. Maybe went out for ice cream.
Although I'm pretty far. I'm speaking to you from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's like right down the street. All right. So, couple questions we have for you. So, you have this company, and you have. First of all, let me get a little business background. So, you have this current company, but what did you do before you started this most recent company that you had?
So actually, this is a project that I started 13 years ago. I studied psychology, but yeah, you mentioned the 10,000 hours. So in the field that I'm coming from, which is called food tech, it's the integration of food and technology. Everything from meatless meat to efficient production methods, and in food tech, usually, from what I see, even more than 10,000 hours, you need 10 years to be an expert.
So, can you clearly more define what food technology is? I mean, other than the microwave oven where I put my sandwiches every day?
It's a lot of things basically you look at our food and beverage market. It's been stagnatic, for decades. We can do much more. Much better food, much better beverages, much better ingredients. But that's also another thing, where innovation also represents a risk. So what we do is we deal with the integration of food and the science of chronobiology. Chronobiology is the science of our biological clock, our circadian rhythms.
So is that like being a morning person and an evening person? That type?
It has a lot to do with it. Yeah. Basically, every cell in our body has its biological clock. Since we live in the materialistic world, even time has its materialistic expression, and it's biological. And so it has to do about sleeping. This whole project also started from a phenomena that is integrated in our circadian rhythm, which is called the post-lunch dip, the tiredness that we have at noontime, where most of us, we blame ourselves that we didn't sleep enough or we ate meat or things like that. But basically it's just part of our biological clock, probably because of evolution, Species come from Africa. At Africa, it's hot at noontime. So if you to go to a safari trip, you'll see also the lion and the antelope are resting.
So you're saying my daily siesta is a normal thing and I should embrace it, or is there a way I can get around it?
It's totally human, you can embrace it, or you can do what most people do, just ignore it. And this is how, this whole business started, the whole company. Just a conversation with a friend who was studying medicine at the Tel Aviv University, and he told me, his name is also Eli, can you imagine that we learned that the U.S. workforce is losing every year $136 billion as a result of the post-lunch dip phenomena. And this is the time of day that you have most work accidents and car accidents. So I looked back at my friend and I told him, oh my God, you found a need, because a lot of times we're starting businesses not necessarily because there's a need. It's because we think that we have potential, we think we have a competitive edge, a lot of other reasons, but
Well, it sounds like we need to eliminate lunch.
if there is a crying need from the market.
It sounds like we need to eliminate lunch, so we don't have to deal with that issue. So, you were...
No, it's not. The French put a man into a cage for 3 months, and he still had this post-lunch dip. And he wasn't even affected by light.
Interesting.
But then again, it's French, so I don't know.
Well, siesta is more a Spanish concept than a French concept. So, it just came about by speaking to a doctor in Tel Aviv. You just decided that, hey, listen, this is something that I want to do. How did you make it from, okay, I'm having a conversation and I understand about the rhythms. How did you make it from there to, okay, I want to start a business?
In a stroke of naivety that I can't grasp now, I just took the phone and called the head of the Israeli Sleeping Institute, Professor Giora Pilar, which is a chronobiologist. And I asked him, Professor, I think I found a need for us to solve. Are you interested? And he told me, you know what, it's interested. I'm going now to Stanford for 6 months. Call me in 6 months. And after 6 months, I called him. And since then, he's leading the project for over a decade.
And
but sometimes you just have to pick up the phone.
That's always true. Communication is the key. What products what was the first product you came out with?
Actually, my family had one of the biggest distribution systems here. So, like always, as a child, my father used to challenge me, what else can we put on our trucks? Because they're already reaching around 10,000 kiosks and supermarkets. So I was always trying to find like the next thing to make my father happy, I guess. But then in a certain age you understand that the last place you're going to find the next big thing is on an existing shelf. Because if it's there, somebody else is already capitalizing on it.
So what was the first product?
The first product was also a beverage, and basically what we try to do is we're tired because we have some hormonal changes. Our temperature goes down at noon by 0.5 degree. Oxygen in the blood goes down. So what we were trying to do at the beginning is to create a botanical formula that will balance those measurements and therefore reduce the fatigue. So the first product that we actually introduced based on the formula was called WakeUp, and it was a 100 milliliter shot that Google and eBay Innovation Center gave their employees at noontime in order to overcome the tiredness.
So is this like a Red Bull, or what exactly is it?
No, first you need to understand it's an ingredient. It's a new ingredient. Like basically, it's the next generation of caffeine. So it's an ingredient, and it can be integrated in beverage, in dairy products, and it's a patent ingredient. And today it's being manufactured by ADM, which is a huge American ingredient company, from one hand. And from other hand, we are just launching our first product that is based on the ingredient, and it's a beverage called BioLift.
So I've been doing my homework a little on this, Eli, and I think it's really kind of interesting because in our market, people turn to caffeine. The first thing they do is they have a coffee or they have a soft drink or, there's these other brands of these WakeUp products. But your product being called WakeUp, from what I understand, is this, as you just said, this could be integrated. You have some examples of snack bars and ice cream and cereal and dairy products and energy drinks. This could be kind of revolutionary. I mean, an after-lunch ice cream and it wakes you up. I mean, how incredible is that? This seems like a really something that really could take off.
And the thing is, it happened in a coincidence because we were trying to find a solution for the post-lunch dip, but what happened is that we accidentally found a new mechanism of action that improves cognition and focus in less than 3 minutes for over 2 hours. And it took us a few years and at least 3 clinical trials to understand even how come it's working. Because at the beginning, when we started after the second clinical trial to work with Google and eBay Innovation Center here in Israel, and even with El Al, the Israeli airlines, which gives it to its pilots to overcome the jet lags, we thought it only works at noontime. And then they started to come back to us and say, you know what, it actually works also in the morning and in the evening. Or, we didn't even think about checking blood pressure or pulse in our clinical. But when you do a clinical trial, you have to go through the Helsinki committee that approves clinical trials on humans. And they require you to measure the pulse and blood pressure. And this is how we saw that unlike caffeine, here there's no increase in pulse or blood pressure. So from one hand, you need to try your best, but you also need to be lucky. And, we went looking for one thing, and it seems that we found the next generation of caffeine. And the cool thing is that we got it patented.
I see it's patented around the world as well. You have an Israeli patent, you have a Japanese patent, a European patent, and a U.S. patent.
He likes patents.
The only thing, like with ADM, I'm not selling them anything materialistic. We are just licensing our intellectual property. So they are doing, I do not supply them with a single ingredient, but the intellectual property.
Wow. Seems like the lawyers did well on this, I would say. That's a good thing.
Lawyers don't do well. What are you talking about?
Sorry.
So, is this a synthetic chemical, or what exactly is this?
No, it's 100% natural. This is why it's also, we're lucky to get it patented, because usually it's hard to get natural substance patented. And it's made 90% out of carob. Do you know what's carob?
Yes. It's a substitute that a lot of people use for chocolate, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is why, like in our formula, in all our products, you can't add any sugar. It has to be sweetened only by a low glycemic carob extract, because the first thing you want to do is to reduce sugar fluctuation that cause you tiredness. And
wow,
and
that would be great then. So for people who are have insulin problems or glucose problems, they can take this product as well.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and also like in cholesterol, you have the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol. So it's the same in sugar. So the low glycemic one is the good one, and even if you are diabetic, or it's recommended to you, because it reduces the sugar fluctuation, which also creates tiredness.
Well, hey, Brien, this sounds like a 13-year overnight success.
Not
bad, huh?
I'm waiting for the bar mitzvah. All right, so it is 13 years.
Really?
So anyway, we got to take a...
I wouldn't imagine, that it would be 13 years later.
All right, we got to take a break. We're going to listen to a lot more from Eli. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show in KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Like no other station in the world. We are like no other station in the world. Who does that? Wow. Okay, we're back. We're back, and we've got a great guest today, and I probably need more caffeine, and I probably need more of this WakeUp synthetic or whatever it is. It's not synthetic. I need to get more of it. It's natural. So I need you to send me some, because during the show I'm usually very boring, very bland, and I need to be able to get a pick-me-up. So I probably need this for the show. So that's what I was thinking. Alex, you were asking Eli something.
Well, I was going to say, Eli, I mean, you've done this. You've got this chemical, or this formula.
It's
together,
natural,
and now you got to take it to market. So how do you do that? You've got the U.S. and you've got Europe, and how did you take this thing to market? So if one of our listeners is an entrepreneur and they're thinking about doing something and they have a great idea, how do you turn the idea from an idea into a profitable business?
So first, because here we were talking about an ingredient, it's not enough that it will be functional. If it doesn't taste good, nobody will consume it.
That's true.
So you have to also make it taste good. And if it tastes good, but it's not water-soluble, so it doesn't work. So you have to make sure it's 100% water-soluble. And then you have the patent, the water-soluble, it tastes good, but the price is too steep, because we're talking here about an ingredient. Every cent counts.
Right.
So before you go to market, you better make sure that you got your ducks in a row, because it's very human, to try to conquer the goal. But really, I wouldn't advise entrepreneurs to run so fast to the market. If you have to do your R&D, then better do it, because once you're on the shelf, there is a sand clock, just drooling, because you have a few months, when you're already there. So before you rush into market and conquer the island and whatever, just make sure that you got your ducks in a row, because here you don't get a second chance. Once you're on the shelf and you don't do good, and the chain tells you that they're not happy, you're probably not going to go back there.
Right.
So, an advice is not to rush into market, especially in food and beverage. It looks like the threshold is really low. I can make you a beverage with your name and your design, and tomorrow morning, So it looks like the threshold is low, because you can easily make your product and perhaps also go on the shelves, but the bigger challenge is staying there over time.
I want to get an Alex Grossman Diet Coke, Diet Soda. So.
I mean, it would probably be a Diet Pepsi if I did it, but yeah. I mean, the issue there, I mean, exactly what you're saying is true, right? It's getting it out there. There's a marketing component to that. I think taking an ingredient and joining, like you were talking about, this product that you have your WakeUp formula in called BioLift. So it sounds like what you did is you went to a company and they worked with you to market it. Is that how you were able to do this?
No. First, we created the formula. We clinically test it to prove it, because you have to get your health claims also. And from there, we got a patent on it, an intellectual property. And from one hand, we are now cooperating with ADM, Asher Daniels and Miles, as their initials, and which is a $100 billion company. Like if our food and beverage industry is made out of Lego bricks, so ADM makes the Lego bricks. You know, they do the probiotics, the flavors, the protein, things like that, but they don't have any finished product. So they are producing our formula under the patent in Valencia in Spain, because there's a lot of carob there. And in Valencia you have carobs, and they are selling it in bulks. But we took the formula and decided to make the first value proposition of it. And this is BioLift, which is a 12-ounce beverage that is produced in the U.S. and is based on our WakeUp formula. And you can consume it. And it tastes great, it looks great, it's sparkling, fruity flavors, and you don't have to take my word for it. You know, the cool thing is that 3 minutes after you drink it, you feel it by yourself.
Well, that's very interesting. So let me ask you another question. I would imagine, who's doing the distribution for that? You have a distribution company in the U.S. that does that for you, or are you doing that yourself, the distribution?
Yeah, this is my, what I'm struggling in this project now, is expanding in the U.S., because so far we're only selling online through our website, and doing it from the other side of the world. And here is a place that the first time that I came in this project, that I understand, you know, although we have a great product and innovation and intellectual property and price and everything, you need a local partner. You cannot manage a business in the U.S. from your office kitchen in Tel Aviv. It doesn't work.
Alex, you're hired. But before we get to that,
There we go.
before we get to that, we have to go to our sponsor. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So, Stephanie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you guys?
All right. Well, actually, we might have a partner for you right here, because this person has a company.
I was just thinking about that.
Well, I'm waiting for you to put it into the product, because the product you have, I guess, if it can make you wake up, that would be a very interesting concept that you have. What is the product that Albany Farms is selling?
We're making ramen noodles.
So I guess
we produce ramen noodles.
So is that something that people can have ramen noodles, and with this extra ingredient, maybe they can wake up, you know, and be ready to go?
That would be quite interesting.
It would be, or maybe we could co-market it.
Functional noodles. Yeah.
Exactly.
BioLift noodles. Yes, we should have come up with that. So now, how did you come up with the name Albany Farms?
That's a great question. So the CEO actually wanted something that people would recognize, although we're not located in New York. Albany is recognizable.
And farms, right? That indicates that it's got some type of natural product that you got, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we also are sponsored on this show by a company called Legal Steps, Legal Steps, STEPZ. And I know they have a website, legalsteps.com. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know that you actually have gone through those programs. So can you tell people what that is? Because a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah, so Legal Steps offers courses that help you with various legal issues. For me, I don't have a legal background, and so when I took the courses, I took the incorporated course, and it guided me through the process, taught me a lot about organizational structure, which was really important because I came from a different realm before I entered the business realm, and it really helped me understand a lot more. So it was simple, effective, and affordable, and I definitely recommend people who are looking for that type of resource to definitely check it out.
Well, that's super duper califragilistic makes me halidocious. I've heard that word before. All right. Oh, this isn't Mary Poppins. All right.
Exactly.
I think it's Mary Poppins. I am. Yeah, but that's me. I have my own personality. People either get me or they don't. And anyway, thanks a lot. Until next week. Appreciate it. We're back in touch. Now we're going to go back to the show. So, Alex, you had that question, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, Brian. Well, I'll tell you, you do look a lot like Mary Poppins.
Well, especially with the umbrella.
You are that.
Where's my umbrella? You don't have an umbrella?
You wear that umbrella for another reason, but you have an umbrella for your other personality. We won't mention the
analogy of personality. But go ahead.
A lot of personality here. So that's really interesting, Eli. I mean, the approach that you took is really one that does take some time, and I think what you're saying here, and a lot of our listeners could do it, is these overnight successes aren't overnight. It's a lot of hard work, planning, getting the right things in line and doing it right. It seems like if you didn't go through the patenting, if you didn't go through the time to find the right distribution model, you could run into a lot of problems. But do you feel by doing it as a formula and lining up that distribution that this is going to grow a lot bigger because you can put it in more places, or did you just get lucky? What do you feel there?
I think with such an opportunity as, like we said, that works better than caffeine without any of the side effects, it was smart to go both ways. From one hand, we have the ingredient itself that can be sold to other food companies, and from the other hand, we have our own beverage, BioLift, that is available in the U.S. Through our website. And most of the times, I can stop talking, after a few minutes, because people just feel it by themselves.
Do you think that
clinical trial?
Well, I was going to say, I get that the effects sell it, right? But do you think that having distribution through your website is enough? Is it convenient enough, or are you looking at putting it in a more convenient manner for people?
Of course. It's just that as an entrepreneur, especially that is not coming from, we're science-oriented. We're not an American beverage company. We're an Israeli food tech company. So in order to make this gap, you have to reduce, the risk for your future partners. And at the beginning, we have to prove ourselves through online. And now we are expanding also, and probably will do it through partnerships in the U.S. So there's no way around it. You need the distribution and you need a partner. And if you can find a way not to build the whole infrastructure for yourself and partner with an existing one, so a lot of times, you don't get the 100%, you get less, but the business itself is worth more.
Do you have a factory?
Right. Oh, good. Sorry.
Do you have a factory? I mean, how are you making this? Or using a co-packer? How are you producing this BioLift?
We're using a co-packer in New Jersey, and since everything is also very scientific by the micrograms, so at the last production, I didn't even go. They just know how to do it by themselves, but logistically, it's not simple. So yeah, we use a co-packer in New Jersey that is doing it for us.
And so you're selling it online, so you're storing it somewhere. It's being shipped out from New Jersey. Is there an expiration date, or this
drop ship, like a drop ship from there?
Yeah, I have to build a system that will be manageable from the other side of the world. So we have a logistical warehouse that orders come from the website. It's being shipped, and therefore it's still manageable.
Well, we got to take a break. So you listen to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, the Ask Brien Show. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Good afternoon, Los Angeles. Oh, what? I don't know. The engineer had a I don't know. He fell asleep. I want to make sure that he had the BioLift in him. He didn't. All right. So we're back. So if somebody wants to try to purchase this product, Eli, where would they go?
They would go to drinkbiolift.com.
And that's DRINKBOIO. It's LI or LYFT? LIFT?
Drink Bio, BIO, Lift, LIFT.
Okay. Yeah, because there's that other company, Lyft, they compete with Uber. So some people are spelling it with a Y. And so people can buy that product now. It'd be shipped within the U.S. How long would it typically take?
Our average is 3 days.
Okay. And
you would buy the six-pack for $19.90.
Well, okay. And if somebody wanted to reach you, is there a way that somebody can reach you? Maybe there's a distributor out there that wants to contact you. How can they reach you?
So they can contact through the website. They can also email me at Eli at drinkwakeup.com. And we're very open and interested.
Okay, that sounds great. Just so everybody knows, while this is a live radio show, and we're on Facebook Live and YouTube, etc., each week we also have a podcast version. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks to come out, so that can be found in any one of your podcast versions. You'll be on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. And so you can listen to the Ask Brien Show, and maybe in 6 months from now, you thought about something, you want to listen to one of these episodes, we're always there. You can always listen to us. So that's a little bit about the Ask Brien Show. So we've got about three minutes left, and so question is, it sounds to me like it takes a lot of money to spend 13 years working on a product and getting patents before even selling a product. So I'm just trying to figure out, how are we able to make it through that?
In the normal circumstances, I would agree with you. Who would invest only in clinicals with over $5 million in? So, and there's a lot of other investments involved. So, I don't know. I was lucky. But one of Israel's biggest investment companies owner was a friend of my parents. My mother couldn't get pregnant, so he persuaded her to go to the last fertility treatment where I was conceived, and since then he's paying for his mistakes.
That's a lot of TMI there. All right, so that was really, really tangent there. So,
no, because if I would tell you, I honestly, it's hard to find partners like this.
Well, that was an interesting way to get to that partnership. But I don't think people can replicate that. All right, so let's go on.
Not with my mother, I hope.
So what's the next step here? How do you want to grow this business?
So we're growing it as an ingredient from one hand, and what is really important for us now is starting getting feedback and traction on BioLift, because people are not interested in a formula in a vial. They're interested in a product they can buy and consume. So, and I think, especially, if children are starting now the year at school, they can use it. And basically giving your audiences the tip of the spear of food tech science that they can just consume. Till now it was only available, like I told you, to El Al. We cooperated with 11 hospitals in the U.S. that gave their medical staff BioLift in order to cope with the long COVID shifts. But now it's available for everyone. And we have a money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy, we'll give you your money back.
Wow, that's a big thing. Have you ever thought about a subscription model where people can just go online and order, and so as figuring that's going to last 6 days or 2 weeks, then you can get a new one?
We should do that. As I told you, since we're coming from the scientific angle of things, so a lot of things which are your bread and butter are kind of new to me.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. We've learned a lot of information. We're going to have you back on later on, but unfortunately our show is over, so thanks a lot. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Eli. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. Over and out. Till next week.